D&D players around the globe, welcome! If you have any stories to contribute about today's topic, do so in the comments below. But for now, do tell me, what are your best, worst, weirdest, wildest, craziest uses for a bag of holding? So my halfling chef Paul Dean wants to make pasta on the road, but we don't have a colander. Can he just pour the cooked pasta into the bag, then request the water to fall out, then call on the pasta for easy draining? What similar uses might it have in such a whimsical campaign? It's brilliant! Although, where would you draw the line? If the bag can separate any mixture, can it separate solutions too? Put seawater into the bag, ask for fresh water. You have potable water even if you're stuck on a raft in the ocean. And you have salt, which you can sell for a good price. Put roadkill in the bag, ask for edible meat. The bag strips the roadkill of its fur, bones, and any diseased or rotten material and hands you only the meat that is edible. Put a haystack in the bag, ask for a needle. You can find a needle in a haystack in seconds. Maybe a needle isn't the most important thing, but you could use it to sift through rubble or any special items. If it can detect specific magic items, then take all the goblets off of the shelf in the cave at the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Shove them all into the bag, and then request the Holy Grail. Voila! No rapidly aging into ancient piles of dust for you or your party. So, as I said, where would you draw the line? Using it as a colander is obviously harmless and fine, but it turns out that using a magical sorting spell could actually be incredibly powerful in certain situations. Even with 5th edition's explicit restrictions on size and weight, a bag of holding is phenomenal for smuggling weapons, hauling large quantities of bricks, quickly tossing said weapons and bricks up 3 stories to the hidden rogue who unloads the bag and promptly constructs the most elaborate crushing trap he can devise to fall off a roof in anticipation of the stupidest assassination mission ever. Toss the bag back down, reload it with regular cargo back at the inn, and casually cause a scene an hour later, causing the dignitary to stop right under the trap. What a tragic incident. So much blood. Who knows what they were building up there? We didn't even have to use the weapons. I play a necromancer and store all of my undead in my bag of holding. It takes a while to get them all in and out, but my party still thinks I'm just an indecisive wizard who could never pick a school of magic to study because they don't constantly travel with us. Use it to pretend to be a cripple by stuffing a limb in it and tying it around your shoulder or thigh or whatever. It's not a bluff when you're actually missing the leg. Oh, that's kind of brilliant. The malicious compliance DM in me would allow this, but then remove the water from the cooked pasta, making it dried out again. Best use I've seen was to kill a slime. Kept rolling to shove it in the bag, taking damage each time, barely managed to get it all in, with everyone else dumping healing spells into the shover to keep him alive. A friend of mine used to store spells in bags of holding through Glyph of Warding. He'd set a trigger to, whenever someone yells name of spell into the bag of holding, those glyphs trigger on whoever yelled into it. It was expensive, but it was super amusing when the party had to stop every now and then to yell into the bag whenever we needed buffs before kicking down the door of a big bad. I casually mentioned to my players you could fill a bag of holding with bricks or rocks and just turn it inside out and they'd all appear. I may have made a terribly wonderful mistake. My favorite use of an extra-dimensional bag comes from the 3rd edition Stronghold Builder's Guidebook. A cursed bag of holding is called a bag of devouring. It works as a bag of holding, but has a chance of eating all your stuff. In the guidebook, they recommend seeking these bags out and putting them in bottom of the Stronghold sewage system or waste disposal chute. The bag will slowly fill up and eat the waste. This probably doesn't technically work, but I allowed one halfling thief to get in one, and the other halfling thief put it partially open in his back pocket. Go to a merchant while a hand sneaks out of the back pocket and steals things from the shop displays. I'm confused. It sounds like everyone in this thread is talking about a handy haversack, not a bag of holding. A bag of holding doesn't just give you what you want. It has an opening you reach in through. The haversack is the one that gives you the item you want, and even then it's not magically popping out, just magically on top. You have to be careful with bags of holding, specifically with regard to storing food. They're huge and you cannot imagine the amount of crumbs and mold that accumulates. That shit inevitably attracts mice, not just the normal kind that steal into your bags while you sleep, but also the extra-dimensional metamice. Metamice will nibble on your magical items, gradually eroding their effectiveness, sometimes leaving minor curses behind. They also leave the equivalent of droppings, called flivver, which looks like nothing so much as rice grains made out of colorful glitter. Depending on the diet of the metamice that left it, flivver can have all sorts of quirky, unexpected effects, both beneficial and otherwise. The more adventurous alchemists and potion makers prize it, but it requires a delicate hand and expert precautions. Aerosolized flivver dust can be especially dangerous and has been known to cause many a tragical magical malady for unwary bag of holding owners. I've jumped into my bag of holding multiple times to evade law enforcement and merchants. You'd normally suffocate, so lizard folk was pretty useful in that aspect, holding breath. Very fun to use as a sneaky type. Just steal or do some crazy shit, and when it gets sketchy, just go around the corner and jump into a bag. So I have a player read the full description of bag of holding between sessions. I had no idea and did not think much of it. They knew they were heading to a small fight and it was in a crypt. D&D classic, am I right? Well, they pushed through a couple traps, fights, and found a stream. The player said, "Wait up, I have an idea." He gave all the stuff in his bag to players to hold. It was a bunch of random stuff. I'm a rule Nazi about it if you do not write it down and it did not happen or you do not have it. I hate non-note takers, but understand. Well, he takes great notes, and we had like a 20-minute laugh session as it was emptied. He put the bag in the stream and let it fill. I warned him he could not tell when it was full, but he could guess. Make an intelligent roll. 18, okay. You have a good idea based on the speed of the stream and what you know of the magic. I rolled a percentile dice, my favorite thing to really decide stupid things, 100. Okay, you think it is about full. I let it get to max capacity. They continue forward, and during the boss fight, I would say around halfway through. It was a tough one. He said, "Back to the door and cast Wall of Stone." Player took a 5 min out of character talk, and he did not answer anything. Just trust me. He texted me what he planned on doing. I actually laughed out loud. Okay, they all back out and a wall of stone goes up. "Suck on this." He turns the bag inside out and makes everything in the bag come out. He cast Dimension Door and popped out next to everyone soaking wet. He filled the room with water. I made a roll against the wall and it held, but took damage. They waited 10 minutes, they dropped the wall. Idiots right. I made them make dex saves and they all knew why. I used tidal wave stats and made the DC super high. They all took some damage, but they won the fight in an epic way and deserved some inspiration and a story that we talk about. Now, they're playing a new campaign and last night used an empty keg to make a fire to lure people out of a stronghold. These players are a riot to play with. My campaign's bag of holding operates more like a woman's purse, except that what you want is always on top, instead of buried somewhere beneath a receipt from 2015 and a ruined powder compact close to an almost empty tube of chapstick that's slightly sticky. Come to think of it, I gave the bag of holding to the other woman in the group. Probably because she asked what should be in her backpack, and I said, "Empty your purse and remove the things that are obviously modern and can't be swapped out for a Victorian version." I had to turn encumbrance off in roll 20 because we realized that we carry way too much crap in our purses. I have an actual recipe for bread that works perfectly for a bag of holding. Bag o' holding bread. Oh, I am excited. Mix some flour, salt, and water. Add seeds or coarser grains such as rye to your preference. A tiny sprinkle of dry yeast. Anyone with proficiency with cooking utensils or someone with druidcraft can easily manage this. Let rinse for about 12 to 14 hours inside a bag of holding. Heat a cast iron pot, dump the dough in the pot, and bake for 45 minutes. The recipe works just fine with open bonfires, as you cook it in a cast iron pot, a common item for anyone with cooking skills. Even adventurers in the harshest conditions can enjoy freshly baked bread at the end of any long rest, as long as they can produce heat for the pot. After a nice breakfast, mix a new dough and put it in the bag of holding for the next day. Hey everyone, Brian here. Here's hoping everyone is doing well. If you liked the video, then please leave a big thumbs up. And if you're new here, hey, welcome. Consider leaving us a subscribe and ringing that bell. The bell just makes sure you get notifications when a new video or stream's going live. And honestly, YouTube's pretty bad at that, so the bell actually does help. To keep further updated on everything we do, I suggest giving us a look on our respective social media platforms. For Ripper, you can always follow him on Twitter or join his Discord, both of which can be found in the description below. I'm also inviting people who want to join me over on my YouTube, Twitter, and Discord, Brian Vaughn VA for YouTube and Twitter, and the Discord's down in the description below. I do streams on weekends and content uploads 3 times a week if possible. And I really hope to see more people both on my stuff and on Scott's, Mr. Ripper's, Twitter, because his Twitter's a little dry, and it shouldn't be. You guys should be following him like crazy. And remember, if you do join my Discord compared to his, mine is a little tamer and his is a little bit more raunchy. Just letting you know before you get into it. And if you really want to look sharp or have something cool in your bag of holding, feel free to check out the merch store. Yes, we do have a merch store. Have a nosy around it. It's in the description. Again, you can go ahead and get any kind of stuff you want. I'm thinking there's cups on there. I know there's stickers on there. And I know there's clothes on there too. And probably some more stuff. And probably going to be more stuff added to it in the future. So go have a look and see if you want anything. Trust me, I might too. With that mouthful of business out of the way, I want to ask you guys and gals a question. How are you doing? Is everyone feeling alright inside and out? No problems, I hope. Every time I ask, I manage to see a few new comments responding, and I try to respond to everyone as much as I can, but I end up losing so many comments in the sea. Rest assured though, I do genuinely care about everyone's mental, physical, and financial health here. So if you can, keep me posted on how y'all are holding up, okay? And if you see someone talking about something they're going through, please respond to it too. Because they're not just for me, they're for everyone out there in the ether, alright? We're all in this together, so try to be safe, try to be happy, and help each other as much as you can. Because you never know what 1 second of your day dedicated to somebody else might actually do for them. So please, for me, be safe, say hi to someone new, check up on people, and make sure everything's alright with you and everyone you know. Thank you, and we'll see you next time, everybody.